of 2021 tarehe moja mwezi ni wa kwanza mwaka 2000 mwezi ni wangapi 11 mwaka 2021 ndio kwamba uko salama. It's indeed a very very good morning. It's a new month, it's a new week, new month, new week. It's another Monday, fresh Monday on a fresh month and mwaka inakimbia maze, lakini I hope you're doing well. Happy new month, happy new month to you, and I pray that the sun may shine on your face this new month and also the new week. Mambo ya kuendea sawa sawa. Kama una mpango zako ambao ulikuwa unafanya, naomba kwamba mwezi uweze kukuangalia kwa njia shwari zaidi, uweze kupata nafasi ya kuweza kufanya mambo yako kwa njia nzuri zaidi. Happy new month. Tag someone, tag mtu fulani mwambie happy new month. Tag someone mwambie happy new month. Tag someone mwambie happy new month. It's a Commoncent edition with the 1st of November 2021, tarehe ya kwanza mwezi wa 11 mwaka 2021. Karibu sana kwenye Commoncent edition ya tarehe the first show of the month and also 1 month to Christmas. It's 1 month to Christmas officially. 1 month to Christmas. Haya, basi Eriko ako hapa na sisi leo. Sa ERICK MWANGI. Sa ERICK MWANGI had gone on a tour, but a business tour of Lagos, from Nairobi to Lagos. Na jamaa za president alikuwa ameenda huko kidogo, atatuambia aliongea nini na rais wa Nigeria, walisikizana vipi, biashara iko vipi pale Lagos. What does it take for your business to be a continental player? And I think right now maono yake ameweza kupanuka. He'll be thinking Africa, not Kenya, on Kiambu Road. Ametoka Kiambu Road, sasa ameshafika Africa. Haya, naona Millie, good to see you Millie. Anasema it's my anniversary watching the tackle. Good morning to you. Happy anniversary Millie Kosgei all the way from Western Australia. It's a pleasure to see you this morning. Eriko, utatuombea mbio alafu nikuja nisalimie wangwana kabla masalamu zao zijapotea huko.
Yes. Let us pray. Father, we want to thank you this morning for the breath of life. We know that everything we do is based on the life that you have given us, Lord. Whether it's our dreams, whether it's our hopes, whether it's building our businesses, whether it's building our careers, Lord, if you remove your hand of grace from our lives, we cannot do any of them. We want to thank you, Lord. I want to pray for every listener and viewer who is watching us this morning. We pray for their lives, their businesses, their families. We speak your blessings to their lives, and we pray this, trusting and believing in Jesus' name.
Amen. Asante sana. Thank you so much, Mr. President. Elias Lagat, good morning. Good morning to you. Millie Kosgei tuned in from Western Australia, my favorite show. Thank you so much, Millie Kosgei. And congratulations for being an anniversary follower of the tackle. Thank you so much for sticking with us all through the year. And as we roll into the next year, we pray that you're going to be with us still. And we hope that we're going to add value to your life. But asante sana. Thank you so much for sticking with us and for believing in what we do every single morning. Without you, the tackle could never be. Without each one of you, the tackle could never be. Thank you so much for sticking with us for all year. And happy New Year again. Now it's a new year to you. Happy New Year on the tackle. Asante sana. Irene Katwiri, the tackle tuned in from Dubai. Thank you so much, Irene Katwiri. It's good to see you. Like, umapotea Irene. Irene matutupa kidogo. Winnie W. Kabuka, good morning. Good morning to you, Dabune. Good morning to tackle who will be Rutas running mate. Leo ni siku ya biashara. Mambo ya running mate tutaingilia kesho. Tukisonga. James Mutinda, good morning. Pito kwa from Likoni Ferry, Mombasa. Asante sana. Millie Kosgei, happy new month. Happy new month, my sister Jin Ku. Good morning and happy new month to the tacklers. Happy new month, guys. Winnie W. Kabuka, happy new month. Happy new month. Ariaba Job, good morning. Pito watching from Cabernet Road, Nairobi. Asante sana huko mbali na sisi. Because that's my anniversary on the tackle. Asante sana Millie. I think happy new month. Happy new month, Irene. James Mutinda, happy new month. Happy new month. Alice Chage, good to see you, Alice Chage. Happy new month, Gerald. May the sun shine on your face too, bro. Good morning from Kibagenga. Asante sana all my people from Kibagenga in Trans Nzoia. It's a pleasure to have you this morning and happy new month. Chapia watching Kiongozi. Asante sana Chapia. Wewe ni mbunge wa Dagoretti North. Asante sana Gakife. Good morning from Thika. Asante sana Kipchumba Benjamin. Happy new month, guys, streaming from Doha. Good to see you guys from Doha. Moriango Kenyanja Vincent, good to see you. Mapenda sana kijana mdogo. Good morning GB, tuned in from Doha. Have a blessed new month. Team Junior from Eldoret, wake up to come up here. Maridadi CEO in the house. Sir Eric, asante sana. Huyu ni mteja wetu wa Sako. So
yes, yeah.
Moriango is a very serious guy. Thank you so much, Moriango, for being part of this program. Kelly K. Allen, good to see you, my brother. I saw your advice on startups. Kelly Allen alisema hii kitu si ya kila mtu. That you know, if you are doing it, you have to accept that you have. There is a reason why they are called startups.
It's true.
Alright, we'll get to that. Kip Kemoy, Kapram Koech, happy new month, all live from Little Kericho. Mambo Mbotela, login from South Sea. Asante sana. Noah K. Kirwa tuned in from Eldoret. Asante. Tuenda tulipe madeni kidogo kwa sababu dosi yako hapa, tunaweza kosa kulipa bills. Asante sana. Maridadi Motors zinakupa nafasi ya kuweza kuagiza gari kwa bei nafuu zaidi na kwa njia rahisi zaidi. Sio nafuu tu, kwa njia rahisi zaidi. Kwa muda mrefu watu wa magari wamejulikana kama watu wakora ambao gari inafikanga after 7 years. Wakati ushazeeka una miguu ya kuendesha gari, lakini Maridadi Motors zinaweza kupata gari kwa njia rahisi zaidi zaidi na bei nafuu. It gives you an opportunity to do direct imports and get to save up to 300,000 Kenyan shillings when you import directly in Maridadi Motors. You don't get such a deal anywhere else. And we keep saying this, the shorter the channel, the shorter the link, the shorter the brokerage in acquiring a vehicle, the cheaper you can get it at, and also ensure that you can get a guarantee of quality for the vehicle that you get to import. Kwa hiyo Maridadi inakupa nafasi ya kuweza kuagiza gari kwa njia rahisi zaidi, direct imports by Maridadi Motors. If you want to import a car today, you don't need to walk into a showroom along the roads here, or you can go to Maridadi Motors and get the best deals and best prices on the assets that you're going to acquire. Maridadi Motors pia inakupa nafasi ya kuweza kuwekeza. If you have money that you want to invest, you can invest a Maridadi import to sell model where you get up to earn up to 15% of your investment. And pia Maridadi Motors inakupa nafasi ya kuweza kuwekeza kwa njia mbili. If you're investing in a sacco, you can save for two reasons. You can save your money and you can get one as well, profits of 15%, or you can save for a unit. If you are saving for a unit, you save for more than 6 months or a minimum of 6 months, and you get to acquire your asset at 50% deposit or 50% savings that you put Maridadi Motors. Driving Academy as well. Tumwambia wacheni kwenda driving school. Driving Academy is the way to go. Na kuniona mtu alinitumia juzi picha akaniambia, I didn't know you have a branch in Nakuru.
Okay.
Ndio ameona gari ya Maridadi Driving Academy pale Nakuru. Kwa hivyo tuko na branch pale Nakuru. If you're in Nakuru, please kimbia pale Nakuru, tafuta Maridadi Driving Academy uweze kuwa driver Maridadi zaidi. Na kama uko Nairobi, kimbia pale Kiambu Road. And as well there are branches that are coming up. Eric atatuambia branches zinatoka wapi. Watu wa Karen pia kaeni rada. Karen tunakuja kwa njia shwari zaidi kuhakikisha kwamba unaweza kuwa na kupata nafasi ya kuweza driver shwari zaidi. Tunakuja pale Karen Waterfront Mall. Ukikuja pale utaona butterflies. Ensure that you make your driving very beautiful. Kwa hivyo Maridadi Motors zinakupa nafasi ya kuweza kufanya vitu ngapi? 4 in 1. Sako, import to sell, import, direct imports, inaonekana Driving Academy.
Yes.
Hi, asanteni sana. That is Maridadi Motors. Maridadi Motors moves your status. Maridadi Motors moves your status. Go to
www.maridadimotors.com.
www.maridadimotors.com, and you can actually order your car on the website. Hata cha story kupiga masimu. Kimbia pale kwenye website, unaweza kuangalia the options that you have for the vehicles. Angalia gari gani unaweza kuipenda. Start interacting with the team on the internet uweze kuhakikisha kwamba gari yako inaweza kuja kwa njia shwari zaidi. But lazima uende Kiambu Road. Kama uko Eldoret and you want a car, just go to the website, see what vehicles are available, alafu tunaanza kuanza process yako ya importation haraka upesi. Pia kama unajenga, baada ya kununua gari lazima ujenge. So ndio ununua gari ndio upate gari ya kwenda kwa shamba, kwenda kujenga. Rexel Roofing gives you an opportunity to make sure that you have the most beautiful roofs in the world. Rexel Roofing gives you quality roofing shingles, stone coated tiles. Na pia kama ushajenga umeweka roof, you can harvest your water 100% safe for water consumption. And this is what we're telling you. We're also giving you, we're extending our customer service week for the whole month of October. You get up to 10% discounts on all waterproofing solutions from Rexel Roofing. Rexel Roofing as well inakupa nafasi ya kuweza kuhakikisha kwamba nyumba yako inakaa shwari zaidi. Harvest water 100% safe for consumption, human consumption. Na pia kuna mambo hapa kidogo pale Rexel Roofing. Rexel Roofing inakupa workmanship guarantee of 10 years. Workmanship guarantee of 10 years, this is what it means. It means that for 10 years, we are going to ensure that there's someone on the ground to ensure that your roof doesn't leak or your roof is properly installed. If anything happens to it, ensure that you are there. They are there to make sure that there are corrections that need to be made. And also giving you 50 years product guarantee. For 50 years, your roof will be intact and safe. I don't know where you'll be in 50 years, but I can guarantee you that your roof will still be there with you. It's also another season. It's holiday. It's November. And we are getting, do you know what it takes to have an holiday? Most people think that holidays are very expensive, but we're going to tell you, you can go on holiday in the most easiest way possible. Unaweza kulipa mdogo. It's coming up by today evening. We'll tell you what you're going to do. Kama unataka kutembea pale Mombasa, unataka kwenda Diani, unataka kwenda North Coast pia, watu wa diaspora, we are giving you best deals for your holidays. Kwa hivyo anza kuzungumza na sisi polepole tukuambie ni deals gani ambazo tuko nazo. Courtesy of Safaris by Jen. So by the end of this day we'll see something from Safaris by Jen. Uweze kulipia mdogo, alafu basi unaanza kwenda tour kwa njia shwari zaidi. Kama pia uko nataka load airtime 325 Swift Airtime KE, wanahakikisha kama unapata airtime yako kwa njia shwari zaidi. Na pia kama uko na mzigo unataka kuisukuma, imbia pale kwenye zigo, hakikisha kama mzigo wako inaenda kwa njia rahisi zaidi. Na kama unataka kung'ara kama Sir Eric, kuna majamaa wanaitwa D-Square Wear pale Eldoret. D-Square Wear akiatia building 4th floor, kijana anaitwa Dandan, anahakikisha kwamba unapata mng'aro safi zaidi. Kama ni kitenge, ni wakati wa harusi pia, watu wanaoana, watu wanapendana na watu wanaanza kuambiana tufanye harusi, baadaye kimbia pale D-Square Wear uweze kupakisha kama unapata kitenge safi zaidi, ama suti mzuri, ama tai kama ya Sir Eric ya Eagle. Lakini sijui kama ilitoka pale. Haya. Acha nimalize na ngwana na salama. Maana kuna watu wameingia hapa kidogo. Alan Afuata, alo from KC watching. Moses Kama, good morning. KC Wise na mambo, good morning to you my brother. Sebastian Gibe, good morning mheshimiwa, good morning to you my boy. Jane Mumbi anasema Porsche, anataka Porsche. Mimi Porsche ama ito Porsche. Aya, nataka Porsche. Millie Kosgei, juu ya hiyo story, it's time my mom gets a gift hapo Eldoret, way to go Jera. Asante sana. Millie, cheza kama wewe na kisha kwamba madhe ataweza kupata gari kwa njia rahisi zaidi. Niongeleshe, nizungumzie, nitumie namba yako kwa inbox alafu tuanze kupanga pole pole. Kimbo morning Professor Bitok watching from Mom Dalat. Asante sana Kimbo. Miss Soy Sharon, good morning and blessed new month kiongozi. Good to see you Miss Soy Sharon. Millie Kosgei, what's the best roofing material durability wise? Best roofing materials comes only from Rexel Roofing, quality roofing shingles, the best thing that you could ever have on your roof is shingles, quality roofing shingles from Rexel Roofing. Ama kama unataka pia you want a classic look, you can go for the stone coated tiles. Franklin Nyongesa Weshuli, morning sir, hope you are well. Franklin Nyongesa Weshuli Franklin Weshuli anasema Kakamega senatorial seat aspirant, na kupata vizuri nikiwa hapa Kakamega. Asante sana. Kuntai Dan Lucky Summer tuned in from Germany. Good to see you guys from Germany. Wambui sasa salimia my brother, anachelewa job. Salimika sana Auntie Wambui Majari, anakimbia wera, lakini don't leave the tackle, stay on the tackle. James Juma, good morning to you. Sir Eric.
Yes bro.
How are you bro?
Good.
Mpotea sana.
Niko.
Unajua mara mwisho nilikuwa kwako nilisikia tu ukiita mtu bro. Things are about to happen.
Not really. I think in Africa the African culture is like that. Everybody is your brother. Yes.
But it's been a while. Ulikuwa umeenda wapi?
I've just been around. I had told you that I was doing a program with Strathmore Business School. They have a very good program called Owner Manager Program, where they basically try to train entrepreneurs, people who are running their own businesses, to try and professionalize their businesses and look at the business from a big picture perspective, so that you can be able to create businesses that impact the society better. So through this program, part of it is a 1-week program that you're supposed to do in a different country that is supposed to be a bigger market. And so this time Strathmore Business School had chosen Lagos Business School as the place where we are going to go and interact with entrepreneurs from Lagos, Nigeria, or even Nigeria itself. In fact, I was supposed to come here with one of my classmates. I bring his apologies. He's called Mr. Benjamin.
What happened to Benja Mudokinjo?
He's just busy. It's a busy season for him, but he promised me that he's going to make it up for you and for our viewers. And he's a gentleman who I believe has a lot of knowledge to share with us. His business just got ISO certified. Wow. And he's serving a lot of people. The business is supporting a lot of employees. I believe there's a lot of insight that we can be able to get from him, and a number of my other classmates that I'll be able to share your contacts with. Ukinichotea kitu.
Please,
ni kitu tu utatoa.
Ndio nafaa tupeka kitu.
Who will be able to bring you a wealth of knowledge on how they are running their businesses. What I learned from this class Bitok is that Kenyans are doing great things. And Kenyans are extremely resilient. I listened to stories of other entrepreneurs. I thought I had a good story until you hear stories of things that people have tried before they can get to where their businesses are today. And you're like, people have really, really tried many things in this country. Yeah.
Right. And on that note, congratulations Benjamin Mudokinjo. Pongezi sana kwa kuweza kupata ISO certification. Congratulations on your certification. ISO. Nasikia ISO si mali rahisi ya kufika. Lakini hongera sana Mudokinjo Pains for your ISO certifications this year. Hongera pia na kongole Benjamin, and you owe us a date. So make sure that you keep that promise. Hai. So habari ya Lagos.
Lagos ni kuzuri, joto tu. A lot of lessons picked. A lot of differences on how they do things and how we do things. Their culture, their confidence levels, are over the roof.
Yeah.
And there is the picture that we have of a typical Nigerian. And I think when you get to interact with people in their home base, you get to see the best part of them and their vulnerabilities as well. This is a bigger market. It is a more volatile society, socio-economically and even politically. The dynamics are more and crazy there. This is a country that has over 200 tribes. You can imagine trying to create cohesion. Actually, they told us they have more than 240 tribes. And you can imagine trying to build a country from that level of diversity. It can be crazy. And I think there's a lot of lessons to pick from them because largely, even though they have turmoil here and there, you can be able to appreciate that it's a largely peaceful country where people are doing their own enterprises. And one of the things that I loved is how they take small businesses seriously. Trust you me, Bitok, a tailor in Lagos is a very confident person. Some of the people that we went to school with, to class with, we went to class with people who are running some very big businesses and some very small businesses. And one of the things that I loved is the confidence of the people that are running the smaller businesses. You know, if you meet a tailor in Nigeria, he's a very confident person. You will think he's the CEO of the Safaricom there, from the way he's talking in class. And I was like, this is something we need to bring back home, where sometimes people feel like, you know, my business is too small, I have nothing to say, I have nothing to contribute to society. But you look at the confidence they have and how they are able to grow their businesses. You know, like one of the tailors that I interacted with has grown his business to a point whereby now he's exporting his attires to other countries. He's exporting to South Africa. He's exporting to the UK, to the US. And this is a business that he started from his home. Yeah. And you look at that and you're like, you see the power of somebody taking the small thing that they are doing seriously and understanding that if you do it excellently and if you do it well, the world has no limits today in the days of the internet. I asked him, you know, how did you get an international market for your product? And you know, the simple answer was, you know, I was just posting on Facebook, on Instagram. You know, social media, the power of the internet has made the world a global village, and through there you can be able to do business beyond the borders of your country, and you'll be able to grow your business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. There's something I shared today, and I was asking people about their startup stories, and if they would advise anybody close to them. You know, you can advise anybody on the street, but you don't even care what will happen to them. But if they can advise anybody close to them to get into business, to leave a job and venture into business, and it's interesting because some people, are like, yes, business is the way to go. I don't know. I don't know. You look at the poster as well, but even as I'm looking for the comments, what do you think? What do you think about that?
I think you know, to be very realistic, Gerard, I think before somebody leaves a job to go and start a business, they need to introspect and ask themselves whether, you know, business is their kind of thing. I think the motivational, you can call it the motivational industry, has done a lot of good and has also done a lot of damage, because there's a way in which we have talked about business in a way to look down at the people who are employed. My perspective is completely different. I hold the view that business is not cut out for everybody.
Yes.
Just as singing, you know, everybody has a voice and everybody can talk, but not everybody can sing well. You know, just as such, not everybody can be able to do business and find satisfaction and fulfillment into it. And so it is an issue of an individual introspecting themselves and being able to ask themselves, do I want to take the entrepreneurial path, or should I help another entrepreneur manage and run their business? I hold the view that none of the position is better than the other. Everybody needs the other party. It's a complementary role. That the employee needs a place to work, the employer needs people to work for him to be able to build the business. None of those people is holding a more superior position than the other. So what I would say is that let every individual introspect themselves and ask themselves, do I want to run my own business? Or do I want to work in somebody else's business? And let everybody find respect, dignity, and purpose in what they do. I think I have said before in this show, that it is a wrong assumption for us to assume that every teacher can run a school. Not every teacher can run a school. There is somebody who is cut out to just focus on being a teacher. It's a wrong perception for us to assume that every nurse or every doctor can be able to run their own clinic. Because being a nurse and being a doctor is different from being an owner of a hospital. You know, the responsibilities, the stress levels, the pressures are completely different. So I think, to be very, very fair and very, very realistic, I would say that business is not for everybody. And it doesn't mean that the people who do business are better than who can't do business. These two people need each other. So wacha watu waheshimiane. You know, respect the person who is a good receptionist. Because even if you're the best entrepreneur, you will still need someone.
You need someone to sit on your
You
desk
need someone at that reception. Yeah, and your company is not complete until you have that person,
sitting
at the reception. Yeah.
So I want to look at the comments here. And one thing that's interesting is that these days everybody fails or things like the best way, the only way you can be seen as an achiever if you're doing something, if you're doing business or something else. I still believe that you can still be seen as successful for building another person's enterprise, for working another person. Yeah. What is it with the fad? Is it that... like you're talking about the motivational speakers. Once I started my chicken business with one feather.
Yeah.
There seems to be an overhype on business and entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
How dangerous do you think that is?
It is very dangerous. We talk
because even the more people we push to the entrepreneurial world, the more disappointed people we have.
Yes.
Because someone comes in, believes the hype, then the business fails, and they come like, don't try business, don't do this. But just not your thing. How dangerous do you think that is?
I think it is dangerous in that, you need a proper ecosystem that has everybody for things to thrive. And, there's that saying that talks about, it's not a saying, I think it is an idiomatic expression that talks about having more chiefs than the Indians. You have more chiefs than the villagers. And if you end up with a situation whereby everybody is trying to be an entrepreneur, everybody is trying to start a business, then what you will end up with are businesses that cannot succeed. Because for businesses to succeed, the human capital is very, very important. Just like in the army, everybody cannot be a general. You need soldiers who will hold the guns and take instructions to go and fight. Just like, in a religious institution, everybody cannot be a pastor or a Kathy. You need the followers. You need the people that will work in the worship team, for it to be a proper, worship house. The same in the economy, for businesses to be able to thrive. I want to argue that you must be able to give people dignity for the role they play, including the person who is playing that very, very small role in the company. But if we hold the view that we are trying to convert every worshipper into a pastor, every worshipper into a musician, then you will end up with a very imbalanced house of worship. You will end up with a very imbalanced society. And there's a way in which we have hyped this thing of business in the wrong way. See, we will come back and say that if you're cut out to be an entrepreneur, please do a good job. Do a good job so the people that are working for you are happy to work in that organization. But respect them and understand that you cannot be able to operate that business without them. But I want to hold the view that for us to go all out and say, that every graduate who is going to graduate from the university this year should only be focusing and thinking on how to go and start a business, I think it is wrong. I think we need a much more balanced economy by making sure that we have soldiers to fill every part of the economic army that we need as a society. Okay. Yeah.
All right, guys, what's your startup story? Tell me about your startup story. Have you ever done business? What happened? Did you break even or you broke down? Tell me about your startup story. Have you ever done business? Did you break even or you broke down? What was your startup story? And also, do you advise someone who is close to you to leave a job for business? Who do you? After doing business, what happened to you? Ulizama ama ulinuka? Na kama ndugu yako anataka kusema nataka kuacha kazi aende fanya biashara, unaweza mwambia, unaweza mpata about your startup story. These are some of the stories that are coming. Ilris again, anasema for now let me stay in the workplace. Right now business is very turbulent. Winnie T Robbie and some, you'll stumble, fall, but when you rise, that's it. It takes time and one needs to exercise a lot of patience. It's hard for those who have been in employment. They take time to adjust. Maina Quach Anthony, start, takes time to picks a little, looks quite good, starts to go down. Nothing seems to work. Many people close the business at this point. If you manage to rise, ushatoboa. I'd never advise someone to start a business and the second month you want profits pole too. Honorable Noah Kering, absolutely, you'll stumble, but if you work hard and never look back, you'll succeed. Employment in private sectors is a waste of time. If you're earning very little and that isn't enough to be invested, the fear of startup a business is a limiting factor, though. All right. Obiero anasema, do you intend to employ people in your startup? Do you normally remind them that employment is a waste of time? Alitakuliwa. Someone tackled Kering.
Okay.
I broke even. My success came from it after trying out a lot of things. Thank you so much. Juma Anyova and Golins, and some business anytime, any day. But before you move out of your job, make sure you already set the pace for your business. You understand the market. You have clear objectives for your business. Vinny Kesama, yes, run a parallel business once it picks up, take off. Billy KE, I will never advise anyone to leave a job for business. I'll advise them to have both business as a side hustle. Billy Kesama, Okay, supporting a supporting wife. I tell you from my personal experience. Okay, you need a supporting wife. Okay, anasema Billy K. Anasema you need a supporting wife. I tell you from my personal experience. Business needs dedication and discipline. You must cultivate such principles. Also, you must work on management skills. So I better double have a business running somewhere and a job as a security. Okay, interesting. Abdul Kalwe Bitok. We started, failed, started again, failed. Borrowed loans, injected in the business. Right now, we are at the sustainability point, almost heading to break even point. I pray for you, my brother Abdul. I pray that things work out for you at that level that you are in. Pancris Ogoma, I've bought just to test if business has picked request for an unpaid leave of a month, also then judge from there. Kishambi Wanjeri, very few people are able to lead themselves. If one of them wewe toka uende biashara, others let's be good slaves. All right. Mugashiku Mutoa Guki, absolutely. What's job? Imagine being paid only 12 times in a year. Okay. Given Talam, why don't you make something a passive business, though it will take more time to be profitable? Once up, you go all in. Ken Masha anasema never. I learned that hardest way. Unaacha kazi ya 40 kg ya business, but end up losing everything, including the capital. 2017-2018. Never will I forget you. All right, Kamlesh, your employment pays well. Stay in it unless you are coming out to do a 500,000+ business. Okay. In 2017 was my worst year. I had to quit a job without knowing what I should do. Mbele na nyuma I had 50k. Nikaanza kuuza calendars, nikauza 3 months. 2018 nikakula shida 5 good months. Ile savings yote ikaisha. To make the matters worse, nikaoa nikiwa na hiyo shida. I then decided to borrow 70k loan from my circle, nikaanza movie. Mungu halali ikashika. My 3 years achievements siwezi compare na 5 years achievements nikiwa employed. Okay. Fadumla KE and some business requires a strong commitment, fearless mind, leadership management and risk taking. Don't be profit angry. It takes time and effort to achieve such. It's the fear of the unknown that makes many shun away from business. Paul Dirango, no 1 or 2. Otherwise, is they shouldn't quit their jobs. Startups should be treated as side hustles. Okay, that's just some of the comments that I wanted. There's a lot of comments here. There are some of the comments that I thought I should sample. But let me rush to YouTube. I see who you're having on YouTube. But you can comment on what you've had from the comment section.
I think you can hear the mixed reactions.
Yes.
You know, some people are saying, do it. Some people are not saying doing it. But I think key to starting a business is the motive of starting that business. Because sometimes we talk, there is the person who starts a business because he's mad at his boss. And, last week, I'm sure you read the article I wrote on my personal page, whereby I was comparing the person who wants to start a business to a virgin who wants to get married. And the question becomes, why does the virgin want to get married? Yeah. There are virgins who want to get married because they are mad at their mother and their father. But that is a wrong motive for getting married. It cannot sustain a marriage, because the moment you have quit your home, your mother's home, and now you're living with your spouse, it's a completely different ball game. And many times the people who quit their jobs in protest to go and start businesses, many times, many of them don't do well, because that is usually not the right motivation to start a business. Getting mad at your boss can be, the impetus that knocks you off to the entrepreneurial cliff, but it will not sustain you there, because 1 year down the line, you will not be mad at your boss. You will have to find your own energy and motivation.
You'll be the boss. You
will be the boss. Now you will have people
who are mad at you.
So you have to be very, very calculative, yes, and to make your decisions right. And I think you have to look at it and say, I am passionate about starting a business. I would start this business anyway, even if my job was doing well, or even if it was not doing well. Now, that way, you will be saying that you will have the energy and the motivation to keep pushing and to keep going, because for you, it was a passion. It is something that you really wanted to do. But if you're going to start it as a way of hitting back, you want to hit back at your boss, you want to hit back at your colleagues at work, you want to show them that you can also do it, trust you me, that is the beginning of a walk that is going to be very depressive for you. But if you start it from internal motivation of saying, there's a problem I have identified in the market, I am passionate about solving this problem, then you will be able to weather every challenge that is going to come along your way. Yeah.
All right, that's it for you. If you go and start business because you are mad at your boss, very soon you'll be the boss you are mad at. And now you'll have people who are mad at you.
Yes.
So start a business for the right reasons, not as a protest, because you cannot protest forever.
You cannot protest forever.
Jonah Mutache, bro, good morning, GB. Tuned in from Minneapolis. Good to see all the guys from on YouTube from diaspora. Thank you so much, Minneapolis guys. Devin Ngati, good morning. Honorable GB and Sir Eric watching from Nairobi. Hi, Asante Sana, Devi. Bolnjaya, morning, GB. Greetings to the entrepreneur guest. Hoping Strathmore Business School doesn't teach political entrepreneurs like the COVID billionaires. Yes, I agree with Eric. The entrepreneur Nigerians are at another level where it comes to confidence and sense of worth. You find a motorbike mechanic talking like he's the engineer with Honda.
That's very true.
That's how that goes like. There are a lot of chiefs, but not enough Indians. Going to business needs maturity of mind and purpose. Guys on YouTube, I want to you as well. What has been your startup story? Did you break even or you broke down? Would you advise anybody who's close to you to venture into business, to leave a job and venture into business? Marky Blackguard is following from Chicago. Asante Sana, guys from diaspora. You make us, man. We love you. As from diaspora, we love you so much. Thank you so much for always standing in with us. Miliko sasa, financial security takes years to attain. Pole pole tu. Kimutai Rotich anasema location is very key on this, but I agree. Less stressful. Miliko alikuwa sema Airbnb is the way to go. Less stress. Lakini you can imagine if 100 people are doing Airbnbs in your village, then there's nobody. Everybody will be sleeping in their own Airbnbs.
The chiefs will be more than the Indians.
Yeah, it's like the thing that happened with quails.
Yeah.
You said quails ni kitu ya maajabu sana, inaponya magonjwa nini. Then at some point everybody had quails.
Yeah.
There's nobody to sell to. There's a guy who was telling me a story in Limuru. Alikuwa anatoka asubuhi anapeleka quails anawacha msituni. Akirudi nyumbani zimefika pia. Because alikuwa amejua barabara. So ilifika mara anambia tu kula quails free. Mtu akipenda anambia shika quail uende ukula. Nobody was taking it. So there's also a risk of overhyping businesses. Yeah. You know, there's a time M-Pesas were everywhere. These days somebody goes to M-Pesa because people pay on their phones. So M-Pesa is already dying. Yeah. You know, agents anymore are no longer profitable. So I mean, they are all risk in business. There's no good business. They're only good business people give good opportunities for that time. Anyway, Irene Wanjiku, CEO wa ERICK Roofing, anasema there is misconception that when you are employed you are building a business for someone else. That is incorrect. You are building yourself. You can save and reinvest your earnings as you build your experience. Okay. Zipi Ben sabu, good morning. Good morning. Hii story inanifunza sana. I'm here to do something baadaye. Haya, asante sana. Mwanza kulipa fees tafadhali. Till number iko hapo kwa screen. Mwanza kulipa fees. There's Mwanda. Zaba, good morning. Good morning to you, Jem. Faith Washu as well. Asubuhi njema kwako. Haya, Eriko. Ni kama sijui kama bado kuna story yote ya startup hapo.
The startup stories are good be talk, and I think also we have to emphasize that we are not telling people not to start businesses. Because there is that person who is cut out to actually start and run a business. And we cannot also focus on what has not worked and forget about what has worked. Because at the end of the day, where we are as an economy, the hope for the economy in terms of job creation has to be based on entrepreneurs, and it has to be based on small stories, not the big stories. We have said before here that we have hundreds of thousands of small businesses in the African economy. Yeah. We have very few corporates. And in fact, you may find that the big corporates are the same across the different economies, the different countries. Yeah. So the need for us to encourage the small business person, the entrepreneur, the person that is already running that boutique shop in Eldoret. Actually, I want you to find time and help me visit that person. Is very, very important. Yeah. Because for those that are already in it, we need to encourage them to stabilize their businesses. We need to encourage them to scale up. We need to encourage them to find new ways of finding capital, new capital, and finding blue oceans that will help them access bigger markets. Now, it is always easier for us to have those people that are already running businesses stabilize their businesses and grow their businesses to be able to absorb more labor force and more people into the labor market than it is for us to start new ventures. Now, what do I mean? For example, you already have the taco. It is easier for us to psych you up and encourage you to expand the taco to be able to hire more people
And also give me some money.
And also give you some money. Because you already have a business that is going on. Just as it is easier for you to have the married people give you more children than have the bachelors get married to have you to give you children.
Is it to tell those who are doing it, please add more children?
Tuongeze watoto. But if you're going to talk to the young men, well, they may do it, but they need more time.
Yes.
There's a lot of time for them to experiment. And if we strengthen the small businesses that we have, for them to move from small to medium, from medium into big companies, then we have to encourage the people that are already doing it. Now, the ecosystem has very many different factors that are needed for these businesses to scale up. There will be the issue of human capital. Now, the issue of human capital, as we are saying, has the challenges of attitude. Because if you're going to have 50 employees, all of whom believe that they are supposed to go and start their own businesses, then those are soldiers that you cannot fight with a long-term battle, a long-term war. Because, building a business is not a 2-day thing, it's a long-term thing. I have gone to meetings. I can, for example, give you an example of a meeting I went that was for Toyota. And, it was bringing different workers of the Toyota Motor Corporation from different parts of the world. And in that meeting, 2 men met. And, they were very happy. The way you see 2 guys have met and, you can...
Very excited to see each other.
Very excited. They hug each other. And, I followed up with one of them to ask, why are you guys so happy to me? Because they were not young people. They were people maybe in their mid-60s. And they told me, we last saw each other 30 years ago in Thailand when we were launching, I don't know which product of Toyota. I don't know whether it's the Hino truck or which product. But that's the last time they met. And you know what this is confirming? This is confirming that these 2 individuals have worked with that company for 30 years.
For 30 years.
Yeah. And doesn't that explain what Toyota is to the world today?
Yeah. The success within it.
The success, because you have people that are seasoned. They are distilled. They've made the mistakes. They've seen the mistakes that the company have. They have, for them, when they talk about Kaizen and they talk about the Toyota way, they talk about it from the heart. It is something they have developed. It is something that they have grown for it to be what it is, today. And the point is that even in our labor market, we need people that will focus long-term in developing particular industries. If it's the banking sector, if it's the health sector, if it is the academic sector, you need lifetime workers in an industry for you to be able to develop that industry to the climax and to the peak. And the point that I'm trying to make is that I know the challenge goes to everybody, including to the business owner. Because for somebody to be willing to work for you for 30 years, then you have to give them a 30-year vision and plan that compels them and that makes them realize that you're going to achieve your 30-year objective as the company is achieving its objectives. So it's a challenge to everybody, to the entrepreneur, to the business owner, and it's also a challenge to the labor market, that it is not going to be necessary for all of us to go and start businesses if we can be able to build a big business that everybody gets a good stake at. There's a friend of mine in that OMP class at Strathmore that loved to say that she would want to build a business that is a big cake, that if you get a piece of it, you're happy with that piece that you're getting. Other than having everybody trying to have a queen cake. She was saying that, we are operating an economy whereby everybody is trying to have a queen cake, a small piece of the cake, but you can say it's the whole cake is mine. But she was arguing and saying, what if we can give you a piece of a big cake that is bigger than the queen cake? That is the thinking that we need to bring to the table.
Labda nataka kula karatasi. Unajua siku hizi hata ukimaliza queen cake wanamaliza na karatasi.
Anamaliza na karatasi.
Hivyo ndio mambo ipo. David Ngasama, before going into business, try planting one sukuma wiki and see if you have the patience to endure the ups and downs and the emotional roller coaster of business. Okay. Paul Ngasama, I started a maize trading business in 97, 3 years after starting work with GOK. After graduating in UN in 93, well, it took a lot of time and was caught hanging civil servant of the Moi era. It did well. So alikuwa anaenda anawacha koti. Hizi ya Moi. Paul Njaya, kumbe nyinyi mlifanya Moi serikali ya Moi kazama. Haya, I'd want to ask one last question on that, Eric. I mean, these stories as well are coming from somewhere.
Yeah.
Do you think entrepreneurs are giving business a bad name?
I would say yes and no.
Yeah.
I think there are, and to look at it very objectively, because we've taken case studies, for example, of businesses in this country that have collapsed, that have failed before, and we will avoid mentioning them. But generally speaking, when a business goes down, if a big business goes down, say for example a supermarket goes down, there will be many factors that lead to the collapse of that business. And it suffices to say that about 70% of those problems can be attributed to the entrepreneur or the people that are running and managing that business. Because running and managing a business means that you have to take responsibility for everything that is going on in that particular business. But we also have macroeconomic challenges. You know, like for example, if a business is complaining of staff theft and staff fraud, see, that talks about the culture and the society. It talks about the ecosystem within which the business is operating. Because if you're going to look at businesses that are operating, for example, in the Asian part of the world, you will find that the labor force in that side of the world is a bit more serious and a bit more different in terms of the value system than what you will find here. Why? Because just as you see in the government space, in the civil service space, the public space where you see a lot of theft. I mean, it's in public domain. The other day, the president said that the economy loses about 2 billion shillings every day on theft. You see, the government is talking because it has data and statistics. It has consolidated data and statistics. We don't have consolidated data and statistics on how much private businesses lose, for example, to employee theft, right? Now, if you look at the average supermarket in this country closing in the evening, I don't know whether you have ever seen a supermarket in this country closing down in the evening. And you see how much security they have to put just to secure their stocks as their own employees are leaving the shop. You have to make sure that you have 100 employees leaving the supermarket through a very small door and all of them being searched by another worker. Now that speaks a lot about the culture of our country in terms of the faithfulness, the honesty and the integrity of the labor force. Because it simply says that the management of the supermarket is saying, we can't trust you. We can't trust you. And now, if you're running an army where you're saying you cannot trust your soldiers with the guns, that's a serious issue. But that is the reality of the market that we operate in, that it is almost considered bright and intelligent to steal. That, you know, you will hear people very casually say, you know, the good thing with this job is that you actually get money. You don't even have to work so hard. You will hear people say that the beauty of getting a job with the government is that, you know, the money you get on the side is more than the official salary. You know, these talks sound very good and very intelligent, but you see, they actually talk a lot about our value system, that we have gotten to a point whereby we think that it is okay to get something without giving anything, or to get more than what you're actually putting in. So if you have that kind of an ecosystem where everybody is thinking of getting more than they are giving, then it becomes very difficult to develop the business. So apart from the weaknesses that the entrepreneurs will demonstrate in managing the businesses that they start, you will also find that they operate in a very harsh environment. The labor force is against them. Yeah, you will find that the policies, I like to ask one thing. You've been in this country for many years. How many times have you seen the Minister for Trade visit a small business? How many times have you seen the Minister for Trade go open a small business? So it's something they talk about, but it's lip service. It's not something they are committed to. We love to say that the economy is being driven by the small businesses and the medium-sized businesses. But how is the policy framework to support those small businesses? Is it existing? How is the credit system of the country designed to support the small businesses? Are they taking advantage of the small businesses, or are they supporting them? And you will find that we have, a voucher-like, you have a voucher-like, a shark-like credit system or credit environment in the country whereby every big business is trying to take advantage
of the smaller
small business. You know, the tax policies of the country, how friendly are they to the small businesses? So before you judge to say that the entrepreneur has failed you need to ask yourself as a society, what is it that you had done to support this entrepreneur to grow? Because if you look at the developed economies, and I'll have to ask, do you think that if Facebook was born in Kenya, it would have taken off? Would it have seen the light of day?
I doubt.
If you look at how they mobilize their capital on the other side of the world, if you look at the existing venture capitalists to support an entrepreneur who is coming up with a brilliant idea in the market, do you think we have that on this side of the world?
I doubt.
I think we are still behind. I think we are blaming the entrepreneurs too much. I want the entrepreneurs to take responsibility to make sure that they are operating value-based companies, value-based businesses that are focused on serving the market and serving the customer. But I think at the policy level, there's also a lot that we need to do. There's a lot also that we need to do at the academic level, because it is the academic institutions that have the responsibility to prepare the labor force that is going to serve in the economy. So there's a lot that needs to be done before we can say that we have a good environment to be able to develop the small businesses.
Even as you talk about them failing us, we failed them. We failed the business, we failed the entrepreneurs, we failed. The system is also rigged against self-reliance and business. And there's someone who was saying the other day, and he was telling me that, do you know in Kenya, the chances of your business license, the one you take from Kanjo for 1 year, the chances of your business license surviving more than your business is very high. You'll finish, the business will die before the license. Yani biashara itakuwa imekufa 1 year, utabaki na license. Unaweza kukuta nyumbani pale. And that's a sad reality of how difficult it is to do business in Kenya. And I was just thinking the other day, so maybe in the next hour we go back to Lagos. I have been thinking, devolution was feeded as one of the strategic ways to ensure that business thrive. But I think devolution has been one of the biggest roadblock and hurdle to business. Try trading trans-county, like through the counties.
Crazy.
And I've learned it because recently I got a branded car. I got my car branded by Pep Tank, Pep Tank K, which I down. And the moment you just cross a barrier into another county, those guys on your neck.
You are arrested.
Where are our rates? So you ask yourself, in Nairobi, the closest counties are almost full. There's Machakos County, there's Kiambu County, there's Nairobi County, there's Kajiado County, all surrounding each other. So do you need to pay for the licenses? If you're doing business, you need to pay for the licenses in all these counties. What's your take in terms of policy and how these boundaries are done?
You see, it's a big problem, Bitok. And I think sometimes when you look at the policies that sometimes government or governments come up with, and this is a big conversation that we actually had in Lagos, and we found that if somebody has been a career civil servant for his entire life, what latitude does this person have to actually come up with business policies? And the problem is that sometimes the people that are in government, and I hope that sometimes we can have actually friendly engagements with them to educate them on our side of the story, on our perspective. Sometimes they actually make decisions that are completely based on ignorance. And we have seen those mistakes, for example, in our economy. And I would give you a very practical example. Now, in the Kenyan economy, we have the stalls economy. You have your own stall where you sell socks or shoes or suits or whatever it is that you sell. That is a micro business. It is a micro business that allows a young person who doesn't have a lot of capital to operate that business. But if you go to the back end of that business on how they get these products from Turkey, from China, from India and other places where they import the apparels from, what you have is a consolidation business model whereby you import your one CBM of suits because that is what you can afford. And another person imports one CBM of shoes for men. Another person imports one CBM of clothes for children. Another person is going to import, brake pads. Another one is going to import something else. You have very many small businesses that are importing what they can actually be able to afford to do. But behind them is somebody who is consolidating their cargo to form one container load so that they ship these things and bring to the country. If you look at it about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 8 years ago, I remember, 1 CBM of cargo was costing about 35,000 shillings. Today it's costing about 65,000 shillings. So the cost has doubled. But you know, that double the cost, that extra cost that has been introduced on that 1 CBM is the profit that this young person was making when he was importing the shoes, when he was importing the shirts, the trousers, or whatever it is that he was importing. But somebody who is looking at it solely from the perspective of how do we increase our tax revenues is going to say, let's double the cost. But by doubling the cost, you actually end up killing that business 100%, and you end up actually losing even the primary tax that you are getting from that thing. And the thing is that there is a lack of friendliness. I am looking at a future whereby before government comes up with policies, it will actually seek to understand how a business model works and how a particular tax issue is going to affect that, how a particular policy is going to affect that. Look at, for example, the example that you're giving about, advertising licenses.
Yes.
We also get affected. That today, if I have to go to Thika, if, for example, I have a learner who wants to do private driving lessons in Thika, and I send my vehicle to Thika, they want to know whether I have paid the branding license. And what that ends up in, you end up breaking your country into so many boundaries that it is difficult for the business person to operate within that country. The jurisdictions becomes too much. But you see, the future of the economy is that you need open boundaries. Yes, you need to open the boundaries. Get free movement of goods and services, get free movement of financial capital, of human capital. When I go to Eldoret, I will sleep in a hotel. When I send my team to go and market in Eldoret, they will need to spend
spend money.
That is money going to going to Eldoret. There will be somebody else coming to Nairobi. So this thing of every county government thinking individually on how it's going to increase its revenues from the business person without thinking of how they can be able to increase their facilitation of the business person is actually completely wrong. And I think we need to talk to the people that are running these county governments, the people that are running the central government, and advise them on the common sense issues that are actually affecting the business people without a fight, because we all need to build a country. They need the taxes. We need the market for us to be able to develop our businesses.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So we cannot talk about open boundaries and open business and the free movement of goods and services, while within us we continue to strangle businesses by creating too many boundaries that are very unnecessary. Joel Rama, Chairman Diaspora, anasema Salimia Bwana ERICK, it's been a while. It is also an anniversary follower. Thank you so much, Joel Arama, for sticking with us for all year.
Very and good also, guy, that one.
He's a very amazing guy. He's been very instrumental.
We've had very good conversations.
Pokea salamu kutoka kwa Joel Arama. Aya, tupeleke shule ya Lagos. I'll give you very humble time. It's your time now. Take over. Take us through the lessons that you learned in Lagos, and what do you think it will take for any local business to play in the continental platform?
I think I picked some very simple lessons from Lagos Business School. And I think one of them, like I had said earlier, is the power of simple businesses, simple ideas. I will never stop talking about the tailors in Lagos. We know Nigerians, and we are very suspicious of Nigerians. But I would tell you of examples that when the tailors came and told us, we want to make you Nigerian attires. I should have come in a Nigerian attire today.
I don't know why you
I will wear one on Monday. Don't you worry. God keeping us.
In fact, I told the Nigerian in Eldoret to make the kitenge for you. But amazing. You've never given us measurements.
I'll give you the measurements. Now, the picture that we have of tailors is somebody who must take you around in circles. You want a suit. Sometimes, tailors have even messed people's weddings. You know that?
Yeah, kabisa.
Because, it's supposed to finish. Yeah, anakwambia kuja Thursday, we kuja Thursday. Na harusi ni ya Saturday.
Tapata nguo yako.
Yeah.
Na jamaa hata hajajua material iko wapi. Kuja usijali.
But you know what? When a Nigerian tailor tells you you're going to get your suit in the evening, I'll come to your hotel with it. You know, you think it's a joke. But he actually brings you that suit. And you see that it's an industry that has a lot of integrity, that has a lot of efficiency. It's a simple thing. They're just making clothes. But they are taking that business very, very seriously. And they are doing it well. Yeah, we got to visit a business that is big. You know, it employs about 6,000 people. And is run by Asians, and you have to give the Asian community the respect they deserve when it comes to running businesses. This business was a case study of interest to us and to Lagos Business School, because it's a business that is being run by the third generation of the family. Okay, the father started it, handed it over to the sons. Now the grandchildren have taken over the business. This is a business that started in India, but is represented in about 7 different countries today, including here in Kenya. Yeah,
The same business.
yes, they make hair products, skincare products, and home care products. Yeah, and the question becomes, how are they able to create businesses that are intergenerational? And when you listen to the people that are in the business today, you see their focus on their people. How they focus on developing their employees, how they focus on making sure that their customer is getting a good deal, their customer is protected, their products are healthy. It is a business that is focused on meeting and solving a human need, meeting a human want. They understand the problem that they are there to solve in the market. That money becomes the last thing they talk about. And I think that one of the mistakes that we make sometimes on this side of the world is that for us, the first thing we think about in a business is how much money am I going to make out of it. Money is important because the business has to be sustainable. But if you can put these other things first, then they will come back to answer for you the issue of money. But one of the things that I picked from Lagos Business School is that the primary problem that we have in the African economy is the motive of everything. The motive of the entrepreneurs, the motive of the political leaders, the motive of the government. That in the absence of us thinking about building a society that works for everybody, if every person is thinking first what is in it for me, then it becomes a very, very big problem. Because what will happen is that if somebody is a governor of a state that has oil, he's not thinking about how that oil can benefit everybody in that county. He's first thinking, how will this oil benefit me? Yeah. Now, if somebody is managing the Ministry for Health, is managing the Ministry for Agriculture, the Ministry for Trade or whatever, they are not first thinking, how do we make sure that we are developing a society that works for everybody? A society where everybody can be able to exercise their aspirations and reach out for their dreams. They are first thinking, how do I enrich myself with this opportunity that I have? That is the one similarity that you will see in the problems that we have in all African economies. And you end up with very high poverty levels. You end up with a population that is disgruntled. And you know what? It ends up with a situation whereby even the people therefore that have the wealth and are rich are not feeling safe in that country because they have not created a framework where everybody can be able to thrive. And I think the challenge, even though we had gone there as entrepreneurs, you see the need for good leadership, you know, selfless leadership that will say, we are going to solve problems, we are going to create opportunities for everybody, we are going to create a framework where everybody, that a kid can finish school, be able to exercise his dream, find a job, and be able to grow and develop. Now, that affects the hope of the younger generations. Because you see, right now, it's like tuko na jam.
Yes.
Kuna yule mtu mwenye alimaliza campus 7 years ago, has not found a job. Now, how do you talk to the kid in class 7 in such a society? How do you tell the kid in class 7, wewe soma wewe utapata? And he can see that this is my older brother, this is my uncle, this is my auntie, finished campus, still has not gotten a job. And I think the challenge that Lagos Business School, just like Strathmore Business School, is putting out there is to say that we need to develop leaders who will solve problems and who will create a space where everybody can actually thrive. People who will think in a selfless way. And this also is a challenge for entrepreneurs. We have to think about beyond ourselves. Is the business really just about you and your nuclear family? You only look at that kind of a business in Nigeria that employs 6,000 people. That is more than a family business. You're saying that business is supporting 6,000 other families. It can mess livelihoods. And we have to understand the social responsibility that we carry as entrepreneurs, that you can actually be a factor of hope or hopelessness in the marketplace, particularly as your business continues to grow. Because when you're running a business, people trust you with their money.
Yes.
People trust you with their lives, People actually trust you with their lives. We were looking at the fact that this is a business that is producing skincare products. If they mess up with the composition of the skincare product, what you're saying is that they could actually
the skins will be gone.
Yes, they could mess people's faces on the long term. You will have increased, if they are using product, they don't care whether the products they are using are carcinogenic or not. It means that down the line, they could actually affect the health of a generation. So instilling human values and empathy in entrepreneurs and business leaders and business managers and the workers becomes a very key conversation we talk. Now, the entrepreneur doesn't have a formal position of leadership in society. He's not a member of parliament.
Yes.
He's not a governor, he's not a senator. But the truth of the matter is that he is a leader in the marketplace. And he can be an evangelist of values of humanity in the marketplace. And he needs to be reminded that if you bring down your business, you actually bring down hope levels in the society. And if you look at it, if, for example, you look at the businesses that have gone down in the Kenyan space, you actually see that as true. You will meet people that have gone through depression because they lost a job. Yeah, you will see people that have now broken marriages, broken homes, because they lost a source of livelihood. Yeah? And by losing that, you're saying that the children of that home are now more at risk of becoming destitute children tomorrow. Now, reminding entrepreneurs that they have responsibilities beyond what we call the bottom line, that they are actually leaders without titles in the society, is what Strathmore Business School and what Lagos Business School was reminding us.
All right.
Yeah.
What do you think the Nigerians do? Because I see you've really painted the business environment in Lagos as an environment where an environment to look up to and to draw inspiration from. What do you think an entrepreneur, a normal entrepreneur, maybe an entrepreneur who is doing what in Kenya? Let's just say an entrepreneur is doing what in Kenya. Anyway, just an entrepreneur in Kenya, an equal entrepreneur in Kenya, an equal entrepreneur in Lagos. What do you think these people do differently that does not bring them at the same level of operation?
One thing that is going to cut the difference, Bitok, is the courage levels of the Nigerians. That Nigerians are more confident of what they do. See, here you still have people feeling like, this is not what I should be doing. And, particularly for people who have gone through school, sometimes education makes somebody more sensitive to shame and embarrassment. They feel like, I have failed. See, I didn't get the managerial job I thought I would get in a bank or in a corporate. I am now running a tailoring business. How do I tell my classmates, my former classmates, that I am running a tailoring business? The confidence, the ability to accept this is what I do. Yeah? Forget about the degrees and what I may have done as the first degree. This is the business that I am currently doing. Trust you me, that a Nigerian who sells pens is very confident. He will tell you, I sell pens. Yes. And he's happy with it. I am a tailor. I am happy with it. And you see, you cannot thrive in something that you're not confident in.
Yes.
For you to succeed in anything that you're doing, you have to be confident about it. You have to be proud. Yeah, you have to accept that this is what you do. This is what I do. This is my hustle. I sell clothes. Yeah, I make shoes. You have to have that acceptance within yourself and have the courage to accept it and to have the confidence to tell the world, this is what I do. And you see, we have a lot of young business people in this country who can't tell you what they do. The reason why they can't tell you,
embarrassed.
They're embarrassed to tell you what they do. And you see, if you're embarrassed to tell you what you do,
then nobody will buy that.
yeah, nobody will buy.
How will we know about the product?
Yes, you will have to have the confidence to say that this is what I do, to accept it. And when you accept it, you become the first salesperson for your product to push it out. And that way, you will be able to attract everybody that you need to grow that business. You need the customers. Sometimes you will need people that will bring you the capital as investors. But how will people invest in your business one day if in the first place you're not confident about your business? That is one key difference that I saw. Now, the other thing also is that because Nigeria is a big market, you have a lot of people. It's a big population. And you know, we were just teasing them and asking them, why do you have to talk so loudly? We don't have a problem with here.
Yes, why did you talk?
And you know, one guy told us, you know, this is a country with over 200 million people. If you talk silent, who is going to hear you? Yes, but I think it goes back to confidence.
Yes.
That they are confident to express themselves. They're happy to tell you what they do. They are not afraid to market themselves and see whether you're going to buy from them or not. And I think that is a take home that we need to actually emulate what the confidence that they exude for the small things that they do. Yeah.
So, do you think if you would move your business to Lagos, you do better there? And why?
Perhaps I would have to take time and learn and understand the market better. You know, like we are saying, it's a bigger market. When it's a bigger market, you need bigger capital base to operate. We are used to smaller markets here in Kenya. But I would say that even before you take your business to West Africa, you know, we have a bigger market that is surrounding us. You know, the East African market is big. There's a lot of opportunities that are completely untapped. Now, by all standards and looking at the future, we are looking at a future where the buyer will be looking for more convenience. And more convenience today can be provided using technology. So e-commerce is going to be a very, very big thing. So I would say that it is not really about physical expansion of your business, as it is going to be about also digital expansion of your business that is going to make a difference. Now, right now, as we speak, Gerard, you know, we have a very good new company that has entered the Kenyan market in my space, in my industry. We have a company called AutoCheck. And by the way, you need to interview the country manager for this company, because
Tell them to pay us.
you need first of all to interview her, because she's a Kenyan lady. She started very young in the auto industry. She has truly demonstrated the power of trust in the process. Today she's the country manager. They just bought the local outfit called Cheki. And he's a Nigerian.
Who bought, they're the venture capitalists who bought Cheki.
Yes, they is originally a Nigerian company. They're interested in that space of making it convenient for people to acquire vehicles. So even as we talk about expanding to West Africa, you need to look at it and see that a Nigerian business is able to come to Kenya and buy a business that has been, you know, incubated and grown in Kenya for the last more than 10 years. And what this says is that they are thinking about Africa. They are thinking about Africa. Africa, as here in Kenya, we may be thinking smaller. We are thinking of how to divide ourselves.
We're thinking how to go to Kiambu.
Yeah, we are thinking of how we are going to cut our country into counties. But a Nigerian is thinking, how do I make Kenya part of my market? It's a big challenge to us. Yeah.
So I was asking about that because how do you think, do you think that there's any difference in terms of policy environment, business policy environment in Lagos and in Kenya?
That's the interesting bit. I would say that Nigeria is behind us when it comes to policy. You know, it's a big country. Harmonizing their policy framework is very, very difficult. Perhaps that becomes an advantage for them because the policing of the businesses, you know, can be a bit more difficult and volatile in a big country. So you may have the freedom to exercise your latitude as an entrepreneur. But in terms of their economic, their political stability, you know, we are way ahead as a country. We are a much more mature democracy than they are. You're much more likely to have a civil war in Nigeria than you're likely to have
it in Kenya.
To have it here in Kenya. You know, our currency also is much more stable than their currency. Actually, right now as we speak, Lagos is having conversations of devaluing their currency further, and you know that this affects how much confidence people will have in the economy and the currency. So I would say that we can learn a lot from them, but we have to appreciate one thing, that we have a good country Also, we have our challenges, but we have a good country. And from where we are as a country, if we get good leadership and we support that leadership, then there's nothing that stops us from going to where we want to go as a country.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you think it takes for a business to be a continental player or an international player? What does it take for a local business? For
Number
instance,
one-
Maridadi Motors, what will it take for it to scale the heights and play in the international platform?
Number one is vision. Vision. So there has to be somebody who is going to dream. Yeah. Because you see, what the mind has not conceived,
You cannot achieve.
yeah, will never achieve. So there has to be somebody who has to say, we are going to make this a continental business. And then rally the people and rally the resources to be able to do that. But one thing that is going to be very important moving forward for entrepreneurs is the ability to synergize and cooperate with other businesses. The issue of cutthroat competition is coming to an end. It's about how well you can be able to work with other people. I will be pushing a conversation of cooperation, industry cooperation, particularly in the auto industry, because we have to think beyond how your own business is doing and how it's fronted to the customer, and think about how
whole
the
industry.
How is the industry presented to the customer? And I would, for example, give you an example and tell you that the auto industry is very unfriendly to the customer. Why is it unfriendly to the customer? If a customer, for example, is buying a vehicle through bank finance, can you imagine how many places this customer has to go to? The customer has to go to the motor dealership, then go to the bank. At the bank, he will be told you need a valuer. Yeah. Once the process is done, he's going to be told there's something called NTSA that has to transfer this vehicle for us to buy it for you. Once that is done, the customer will be told you need an insurance company. He will be told you need a car track company. The customer gets very tired through the process, and it is just about how the industry is structured. And you know what is lacking is for the industry players to cooperate, so that the customer can deal with one person who is able to aggregate everybody and do everything together. Now, if you look at the process of shopping for a vehicle, because the industry is capital intensive, we talk if you're looking for a Land Cruiser V8 today, you may need to allocate the whole day.
I wish I was.
Yeah. You know, to go to which you want. You go to Gong Road, go to Rangata Road, go to Karen, maybe come to Kiambu Road, for you to be able to see the different dealerships and what they have to offer you. But nothing stops us from sharing this data, so that when you come to one dealership, they're able to show you what everybody else has. But that is not possible.
If this is what you're looking for, go to ERICK.
Yes. But that is not possible in an environment where people have a scarcity mentality, where people are viewing each other purely as competitors and not as collaborators. Yeah.
Okay. Robert Ndegwa hapa kuna swali kwako, anasema how did you get into the business and be real? I think he has been real enough, but someone asking how did you get into business?
This story sometimes I think I've given it for so long. I think
time.
I have said before that I had the privilege of working with somebody who was importing and selling cars. He was a computer teacher in Gashia High School. And once I cleared high school, he would trust me with the responsibility of going to post adverts for those vehicles in different places. Then the internet was not developed, so we would post the adverts at Business Nation, the Nation newspaper, places like Sarit Center, Village Market, boards. And then I would receive the phone calls for him, and that is how slowly by slowly I got initiated into the auto industry. His name is Mr. Gedhuku. We talked actually about 2 weeks ago, and he told me, I want you to buy me Namachoma.
I would like to invite. Next time you're coming, come with him.
I will definitely.
You need to bring him on board. Huyo ndiye nafaa umlete kabisa.
That is how definitely I got into the auto industry. I never knew that one day I would settle into it permanently, but I think it's a job I enjoyed.
Ulikuwa boroka?
I wouldn't say I was a broker. I was working for him. I was running the errands for him to make sure that the vehicles actually sell. Yes, yeah.
Kanda ya moko.
But I loved it. Yeah.
That's not, and you know, most young people don't want to work for people. Like they think serving is saying that is slavery. And I think there's a lot of power in service, because then you learn. If you're not serving, you're not learning.
Yeah.
You have to serve someone. You have to be there for someone, for you to be able to learn something new.
Exactly. You know, can I tell you something I learned from the Igbo? You know, they kept teaching us how to say Igbo. I'm not even sure I'm saying it correctly. The Igbo community of Nigeria. they are traders, they are business people, and they have.
Back here, we call them Higbo.
You call them Higbo. They have a rule actually on how to get into business. It is almost an unspoken rule, but they really emphasize on it that there are people who come to Lagos. Lagos is a cosmopolitan city where people do business. It's like Nairobi. Si hata wewe umetoka huko, umetoka Eldoret. So now, if a young man in Eldoret wants to come here in Nairobi to learn your trade, as we talk, they have a rule that young man must work for you for 7 years. Okay? And after those 7 years, you will have the responsibility to support them to get into that industry.
Wow.
Okay? And it is almost cultural. It is unspoken, but it is there. And you know what that does? Is that, in 7 years, somebody will actually learn a lot from you. And now even if they go and start that business, they are able to go and start on their own. One of the problems, of course, we have in the Kenyan economy is that somebody works for 4 months, 5 months, they feel, I can do it. And they go and start, and they go and fail. Yeah, they go and get themselves into trouble because they haven't learned everything that has to do with that trade. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so there's power of service. 7 years teaches you to serve. And also lets you learn a few things because most of young people, they want to get out of campus or get out of school.
Yeah.
Like, guys, I can do this thing alone. I don't have you. I don't have to wait for anybody. But I think every other person who has gone somewhere has served someone. Every big story.
Yeah.
Every real story.
Yeah.
People also have stories. Every real story has someone who served someone, who was under someone for some time before they could be able to do things on their own. G. Bull anasema this fellow is eloquent. Is he a preacher? Are you a preacher?
I am not a preacher, but I'm a Christian. Preaching is a very high calling.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very enlightening fellow. The lack of cooperation is the soloist mentality that lets everyone sing.
Yeah. Everybody wants to have a queen cake.
Hapo kwa kona, wewe unaimba, au mwingine anaimba, kila mtu anaimba. Then you have an uncoordinated choir. Now, the statistics say that most of the businesses, most of startups and SMEs have been collapsed by big companies.
Yeah.
Not all of the big companies, but most of the big companies have collapsed small businesses. If you hear about a small business that collapsed, credit to a big company that they never paid, or the cutthroat competition you're talking about, that the big company is always trying to undercut the small companies. As we talk about companies and entrepreneurs, senior entrepreneurs mentoring small businesses, what do you think is the responsibility of the big business? And do you think they have also failed in ensuring that the business environment grows?
That's a big conversation that we had in the classrooms when we were doing this program. And when you speak as a small business, then it looks like you're talking from self-interest. But I think there's a way in which the big businesses, and particularly the owners of capital, must embrace a bit of communism for us to be able to build a functional society, because they know more, they have more resources, they have bigger resources, they have a responsibility to keep the smaller businesses going. And I think one of the companies that has demonstrated that this can be done, I am not campaigning for them, is Safaricom. Because if you look at the success of Safaricom, it's more than financial. It is also a story of socio-economic transformation. That, Safaricom has a big business, for example, called M-Pesa. But they have a lot of M-Pesa agents also who make who make money and livelihood from M-Pesa itself. Yes. And I think it's an issue of attitude of the leadership of the business. What is the point of having a business that is so profitable, but the profits are coming from killing smaller businesses? Yeah. What is the point of, having a credit system, for example, that for you to report the billions of shillings as profit, what you have at the tail end is millions of poor people that you have produced. You are actually a business that is fueling hopelessness and destitution in society, other than inspiring hope, and empowering people. Businesses have to go beyond profit making and think about the social economic, the transformation that the human transformation that they are actually bringing into society. Because if a business will purely just think about the bottom line, what is the top line of that business? The top line is people. Are the workers growing? Are they getting depressed, or are they growing? Are they killing themselves because of how much pressure you're putting on them? So really, for a business to be healthy, we have to go beyond the normal accounting systems that measure the performance of the business. Because many times we talk, I think, in the capitalist world, we think about the quantitative aspects of a business, but we forget to think about the qualitative aspects of the business. Like, how is this business impacting society? How is it impacting policy? If you're going to end up, can you imagine, Gerard, for example, the other day we had the issue of the black man who was killed by the police in the US.
In the US.
I don't remember the name of
Floyd.
the campaign. Yeah, Floyd. The name of the campaign was
Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter. You see, one of the beautiful things about that campaign, and we looked at that study at Lagos, is that everybody became a part of that campaign, including the businesses.
Yes.
That the movement would actually call out the CEO of Company X and tell him, we want your stand on this matter. Because, sometimes businesses operate like they operate in a vacuum. And there is no better way, there's no better people that, for example, can hold government to account than the businesses, and particularly the big businesses. If, for example, you had all the banks in this country say, we think that this policy is not good for the business environment, then even the government and the policymakers would listen, because the big taxpayers are talking about it. But if they get comfortable, because sometimes, sometimes the poor governance is an economic opportunity, and they get comfortable because that continues to fuel their profits, then the day the society crumbles down because of destitution and hopelessness, everybody also goes down. Everybody else also collapses. So we have to think beyond our businesses. We have to think beyond our profitability and ask ourselves, how is your business impacting the bigger society? Yeah.
Okay. All right. Robert Dego says, how do you thrive within the hard time that most youth can't see? Now, what he means by this, how do you thrive within the hard time that most youth can't see?
I will answer that question very candidly and say, Gerard, sometimes you don't have to thrive.
You have to survive.
Sometimes you have to survive. And I think we have given that example before here, and said that we've given the example of the frog. Sometimes in life, the objective is not to thrive, and the objective is not to reproduce. The objective is not to grow. The objective is to sustain life. And I think the problem that we have in our society is that we have become a fake society, because this is being fueled mostly by social media. In social media, everybody shows how they are doing well. People show you the good food they are eating.
The reels.
The good food from the big hotel. Nobody wants to show you
when they're sleeping under
Madodo and Githeri from Mama Shiko's cafe in a slum. They show you that one moment when they go to Kempinski.
Is when they want to show you.
When they want to show you.
Then they show you flames.
Yes. And you see, the illusion, therefore, is that everybody else is doing well other than you.
Yes.
Yeah. And this has led to a lot of depression to a lot of people. Sometimes the objective is sustainability. And I was just talking about that example of the frog and the way the frog hibernates when there is drought. When there is drought, the frog is going to bury itself in the soil. Its objective is to go to the lowest level of metabolism, to use the least energy, to wait for the rainy season when it can go out and eat grasshoppers and the other things. And I think the seasons that we have been in, for particularly because of COVID, the objective really was not to thrive. The objective was not really to grow. The objective was to sustain businesses, to keep going, keep the vision going until the rainy season comes. And we are happy now. You see, we are way ahead in the process of fighting COVID. Now we have vaccines. We are not even talking about one vaccine. We are talking about a variety of vaccines. And people know more about this disease. People know how to protect themselves and how to prevent themselves. And what you will see is that the market will begin to open. So what I would tell the young person is that you need to be very timely, to know Is it a season for survival or is it a season for growth? Now we are heading to a season for growth. Of course, we are hoping that the politics of the country will play well, that we will be able to do the politics alongside living our lives and developing our lives, that the politics will not affect the businesses and all that. And now we will have more money circulating in the economy. But guess what? This money will not come to you if you're not ready. Just as if you're in the ocean, you have no hooks, you have no boat, you have no nets. How can you catch the fish? Are you going to time until a fish is jumping out of the waters for you to try and grab it? You must have a strategy on how you're going to play in the big ocean that is called the economy.
You must be timely and strategic.
Strategic. Yes.
All right. Now, as we move, finally, the economy is opening up, and we're happy about that. The government is beginning to at least to relax its rules on COVID-19, and it means it smells like coffee for the business fraternity. Smells like opportunity. Finally, some hope that we can see. 2019, 2020, 2021 has been the most difficult times for businesses.
Yeah.
As the economy finally opens up, what are some of the strategies that you think the businesses should employ? Because there's also the risk of business coming out and, going all out and maybe taking all the risk that they could never. Do you think that the economy is going to recover in a way that we feel optimistic about it? What are some of the strategies that anybody should employ in business as we move forward?
First, I would say that hope and optimism are very important factors in any market. When a market is hopeless, hope is not quantifiable. It's not something that an accountant is able to quantify for you, but it has a lot of value in the marketplace. You buy a nice suit because you have hope that you will see tomorrow. If you didn't have hope that you will see tomorrow, you will have no business buying that good suit.
Yes, you would even walk naked.
Yeah, you buy a good car from MARIDADY Motors because you have hopes about tomorrow. And I think right now, Bitok, I would want to tell the person who is listening to us, you must first and foremost remain hopeful. Because if you lose that hope, we are losing you.
Yes.
You have to be hopeful, you have to be optimistic. But number two, you must exude courage to try. I like to say one thing, that for you to succeed, you must try. There is no guarantee that if you try, you're going to succeed. But there is a guarantee that if you do not try, you cannot succeed. For you to succeed in a marriage, you have to try.
Yes.
For you to succeed in a business, you have to try. For you to succeed in anything, you must start trying. You must start actualizing that faith that you actually believe in. So right now that the economy is starting to open up, and people need to understand that nobody will ever ring a bell for you and tell you it's time to start your business. Nobody will. Nobody will ever ring a bell for you and tell you it's time to add a product to your business. Nobody will ring a bell for you to tell you that, it's just time for you to open another branch somewhere. You have to follow your entrepreneurial instincts that tell you, I think if now you take this business to this other town, you're likely you can do well. And you have to have the courage to try. You have to have the courage to sell your vision to other people and tell them, you know what, can you partner with me? We try and expand this business. But if you just sit there, then you will just sit there and you will be swept away. The point is that right now it is open. I don't think we are going back to total lockdowns now that a lot of people are taking up the vaccines. But the thing is that you will only see a difference. Things will only give you a positive difference if you actually take advantage and take steps of faith and try something.
Take a leap. All right. What are the risks of, when you take a risk, what are the risks of going all? Because, there are different factors of the economy, different sections of the economy. Some will recover, some might not recover, some will recover quickly, some will recover very slowly. What is the risk of me going all out and coming and saying, now, Daddy Motors, nataka lori tatu. And then I end up with an industry of transport where I go there and I find it has not recovered.
Good.
What are some of the restraints that you should
if you look at how a tree grows, there's a reason as to why the tree will produce fruits when it is very strong and very firm. And what would happen if it produced fruits and the stems were not strong? Those branches actually crack and the fruits go down and it all goes down to waste, right? Same thing with a business. Before you expand and grow it, you have to look at your stems, your roots, how deep are they? And this talks about the structures of your business. You know, sometimes you can expand beyond your structures. And if you expand your business beyond your structures, what happens is
Collapses.
it collapses. You're going to lose a lot. The branches will actually crack down and you're going to lose a lot. So you have to look at the people first, because you are not running this business alone. Have you developed the people to run the business when it grows? This is a slow process, sometimes a very frustrating process, but a very, very important process for you as an entrepreneur. So I would say that the disadvantages of growing faster than your structures is that it will definitely crumble. So you have to spend time developing your structures, developing your people, developing your brand, developing your capital base, so that everything is going to move together for you to be able to grow this business. Am I an expert in this? I'm not. I also learn on the job. Have I made mistakes before? Yes, I have. I have made mistakes, and that is why I can say authoritatively that before you expand your business, you need to look at the structures and make sure that you have the people to run those businesses. One of my mentors told me one thing: if it grows too fast, it's probably a weed. If it grows too fast, it's probably a weed. So you need to make sure, weeds grow very fast. Kunaweza nyesha leo.
Haraka sana.
And then within 2 weeks,
hata mbegu kuliko mbegu yako yenye ulipanda mwenyewe.
Of course. It grows faster than the maize and the beans. And for the maize and the beans to grow, you have to do a lot. You have to go and remove the weed. You have to add the fertilizer. You have to water. But the weeds just grow on their own. And it reminds you that the good things in this life must be worked on. But the bad ones needs effort. The bad ones just grow on their own. So I would want to encourage the entrepreneurs. You have to go and put fertilizer on your maize, on your wheat, for you to actually be able to harvest something tomorrow. And there's nothing wrong with slow growth. And there's also nothing wrong with making mistakes. A lot of entrepreneurs are guilty. A lot of them have lost their zeal to try, their energy to try.
Because of failure.
Because of the mistakes they have done before. I want to encourage them. Consider that school fees paid. You paid school fees. You learned. Now you're a better person. You're a wiser person. Come back to the market and try. Don't lock yourself into a corner and sink into a depression.
All right. J. Bo says, another question. I am a struggling entrepreneur. I did not benefit from apprenticeship. I have yet to make it, not giving up, trying to guide my young children to learn business. All right. All the very best. All the very best. I hope things turn out well for you. I know it's a struggle. You're all trying. You're trying this thing. So we hope you're going to find a footing for yourself. And we work on ensuring that we move. The more people you create, the better the society that we leave behind us. Sholim Kibet Benaji says, Bitok, this guy is just on another level. We need such people in society to mentor the youth. All right. I don't know if there's any other lessons that you picked from Lagos that you think we still need to speak on.
Maybe the other ones I'm charging.
No, give us a little bit of it.
We will continue to share, but I think the other important lesson that we learned there is the need to have a work-life balance, particularly as entrepreneurs. Sometimes we burn the midnight oil too much, and this leads to us losing our families, losing our children. And I think we were adequately reminded that even as you grow your business, you have to remember that you have responsibilities back home that you cannot delegate. That, even as you make the money and hire the teams to run the business, you cannot hire a team
to run your home.
The home you have to go and run yourself. There's somebody waiting for you at home as your spouse, and there are children waiting for you to go and impart them as their parent. And I think that was very profound that we got reminded of.
Okay. And I think we really get so lost, by the way, in the activities of what we do.
Yeah.
And I was saying the other day that while chasing what you want, be very careful that you don't lose what is important.
True.
Or there are things that matter.
Yeah.
There are things that might not really be all that glitter, but there are things that matter. Yeah. So while you chase everything that you want, be very, very careful that you don't lose the things that matter. Because sometimes you chase what you want, then you get what you want.
Yeah.
And you look back and realize the things that mattered are not there.
You've lost them.
Right. J. Bo says, please go back and revisit the aspect of multi-generational family businesses where the Asian community has excelled. A very painful pill for Kenyans. Solo disco mentality, extreme individualism. Now, finally, from Nairobi to Lagos and from Lagos to Nairobi, what would you tell the government?
I would say that, and not just the Kenyan government, African governments must school themselves to the humility of consultation. That if I had an opportunity to talk to a cabinet secretary, I would want to remind them that you do not get to know everything just because you've been appointed as a government officer. And I think there is the vulnerability that we must encourage our leaders to have if we are going to develop this country or even this African society. That it is until the cabinet secretary is willing to go and interact with the small businesses and get to know their challenges that he will be able to actually coil policies that will positively impact that business. It is impossible to lead the society from the top of the mountain. You must go to the base of the mountain, interact with the villains, interact with the people, get to know why that young man committed suicide. And now you will begin to understand the problems that are ailing the society. Get to understand why that graduate from a university got into alcoholism. And that way now you can be able to build a society where the next graduate does not commit suicide and does not go into alcoholism. Without that, people will continue giving us policies in the market that do not make sense, that do not resonate with the needs, the problems, and the aspirations of the people. And for us to remember one thing, that if you are in the middle of monkeys, you cannot have peace. For you to have peace, you have to be in the middle of civilized people. And the point that I'm trying to make here, Bitok, is that the people that God have bestowed with leadership responsibilities in this country have the responsibility to think beyond their needs, beyond their families, beyond the golf clubs, beyond their cliques. And that way they will be able to come up with policies that affect the people positively. That it's not about where your kids go to school. It is about the education that every Kenyan child is having.
Yes.
Because the person that is going to harm your child that you took to a very good school may come from a neighborhood where that you ignored, and you had the opportunity to actually impact them positively. And the need for us to collectively build a civilized society where we make efforts to make sure that everybody accesses good education, everybody has equal chance to opportunities if they put effort. The idea of meritocracy, that we reward effort. We don't just reward on the basis of nepotism, is going to be very, very important moving forward.
All right. Okay, that's been Sir ERICK MWANGI, CEO MARIDADY Motors, and he's been telling us how well you can change your touch lives. And the most interesting thing about business in this generation and this time is that if you're not touching people's lives, then you're not in business. If your business is not speaking to the lives of people, is not changing lives, then you're not in business. You're going to close faster than you opened it. Your tackle of the day.
My tackle of the day is very simple. Life is short. Between today and the rest of the last day of your life, you must always ask yourself, what difference are you making?
All right. What difference are you making? All right. As the month, the year ends, find mwaka imeisha bwana. Ilikuwa juzi tu.
Mumepeleka mwaka wapi? And you told me you're going to buy me nyama choma this year.
No.
So now you only have 2 months.
Now, what will happen is you might have to buy today, then I buy in the new because things are very relevant.
Your year has been stolen.
Things are very relevant. I didn't even know where the year went to. So after the show, you'll need to buy lunch.
No problem. We can fuliza.
Itabidi umefuliza. Tukule green dollars. Yeah, Legos. Oh, it's been a pleasure. And it's only 1 month to Christmas.
Yeah.
So we're beginning to think about, you need to start thinking about next year and placing a strategy in your business towards working next year. I want to insist again that if your business is not touching lives, it's not changing a life. And the most interesting thing is, the other day we were handing over cars at MARIDADY Motors, 57 lives that have been changed. People, our families wake up in the morning and plan their day around driving and moving. A family, someone who is in a diaspora out of the country, but still they can earn money and they can support their families from within. They might not be able to do car business in Saudi Arabia or in Doha, but someone down here, you're doing something for them changing a life of a driver, changing the lives of their families. So if your business is not tailored around touching people's lives and changing their lives, then there's no conviction from people to invest in your business. So even as you think about starting your business and doing a business, ensure that it touches the life of the people that are around you. If your business does not make someone else's life better, then inakuwa ni ngumu zaidi. Na pia maisha yako pia, if it's not making you better, then maze, hapa itakuwa ngori kidogo. Mwaka unaisha, 1 month to Christmas. Until tomorrow on the State of the Nation. See you and bye-bye.